Hey there YouTube, Travis here. So, we're taking a look at the 1979 Honda Express 2. And honestly, this is a bike that is pretty much all finished up. It's gotten about as far as I'm willing to take it, and it's come a pretty long way since I threw that tarp off of it last summer, between pinball run and just kind of a bunch of other life events happening. I really haven't had a chance to video this bike as much as I wanted to, but hopefully we're going to take care of everything today. This thing is a great little runner, and I'm going to give you guys a walkthrough of what it took to get this thing from the state I got it in to where it is now. So thing number one you may notice is, yes, the basket broke off. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get that welded if I bother. I'd really like to have that basket on there again because it was pretty funny. So I guess to wind it way back, I was riding this bike around at Dirtquake, and all it really needed to get going was carb clean and pretty much a new spark plug, and I think that was about it. But if we go take a look at the carburetor here, you see we've made a bit of an upgrade. This is a clone carb. This is a Delorto 1515 clone. This is the clone that includes the air mixture screw on the side there. And I was pretty surprised to find out that that air mixture screw actually does work. Genuine Delortos don't have it. But when this thing was first put on, the mid-range was kind of a little wonky, but we were able to fiddle with that screw and get it to where it needs to be, which is great. I did end up purchasing the adapter, the MLM 1515 adapter, and I felt kind of foolish buying it because, well, it's just this little thing and it bolts onto the stock intake there, and that's all it is. It was pretty small. I thought to myself, maybe I could make this myself, but regardless, we have the carb on, which is great. So, why the upgrade? Well, for starters, the stock carb on here is not really that tunable. People might argue with me on that. It's not the same as the stock carb on a Honda Hobbit. The stock carb on here is a pressed-in jet, and people will say, yeah, you can hammer that jet out and then drill out the jet. Yes, this is true. I won't argue with you on that, but gosh, that does present a bit of a challenge when you're trying to dial it in perfect. But anyway, new carb alleviates that issue. This takes the regular Delorto jets, which makes tuning pretty easy. And this also uses, similar to the stock setup, a cable for the throttle and a cable for the choke. I got a little crafty with my routing here. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it was actually extremely annoying having to make these cables. So as you can see, we've got a homemade choke cable right there with a NARP. Well, it's actually using the original cable. Throttle cable needed a NARP, and the front brake cable, you'll notice it's black. That is made out of a POOK cable, and down here, let's see if I can get it in the camera. That is from the original cable. And then there's another NARP down here. Man, this front brake cable was a royal pain. It, these cables on these bikes are kind of similar to motorcycle cables, actually. I mean, it's kind of neat, but honestly, it was such a pain getting that cable bit off the old one. This original cable was actually like solid. Like when you would pull on the brakes, it would move the arm down here, but the whole cable was moving. Anyway, on the brakes. Oh man, so the front and the rears needed new brake pads. The friction material was coming off the metal part on both of them, front and rear. So the brakes on this thing were pretty terrible, but we got some brand new pads in there, so it stops a whole heck of a lot better. Brand new rubber, nothing fancy. I think these are, what brand of tires are these? Yeah, these are just real simple Kendra tires. 14 by 2 1/4, I think. Yeah, so, but the original rubber was a bit on the dry rotted side, so new tires front and rear, new brake pads, new front brake cable. Had to mess with the two cables for the throttle and the choke. What else? Yeah, this thing, it's had a lot of work put into it. The headlight, that never worked, and these are originally a sealed beam, so I kind of did a bit of a hack method here where I took a Pook bulb socket and I kind of taped and glued that into the original glass, and hey, it works now, and that's great. Something worth noting, if you have a Honda Express with a battery, which is pretty much all of them, you know, maybe there were some models that didn't, but anyway, it's under your seat and it's pretty important you keep it topped off with water. The battery in this bike was from around 1993, and it was dry, and of course it blew my headlight bulb immediately. So I just filled it with hose water. It's not going to act as a battery, but it acts as a voltage regulator. And no more blown bulbs. Okay, now we're taking a look at the top end here. Obviously not a Honda Express stock top end. You can tell because it's got the decomp right here. This is from a Honda Hobbit, a PA52 Honda Hobbit to be specific. One of the members of Uphill Battle was very gracious and allowed me to trade him a pack of cigarettes for it, which is great. I was happy to make that trade. The ports on the Hobbit cylinder were bigger, so it is an upgrade, which is great. I originally did not have a head gasket on there, which was really foolish because of that decomp there. It had a crazy air leak, but I got my hands on a good used Honda head gasket. And now it seals up pretty nice. So the real limiting factor with this setup now that we've got a carb, a better top end, is really the stock Express pipe, which is still hanging out here. It's this thing is just really, really restrictive and tiny, and it's quiet, but it's pretty slow. So, it's still way better than it was stock, but this thing really needs an expansion pipe to complete it, to open it up. And that's kind of where I'm at with this bike. It still is, plenty fast to get around town nice and safely here, but, they sell a very fancy custom-made Express pipe on Treats, but I don't want to put that kind of money into the bike. And I also have the option of having someone hack and weld me, good old nice janky bi-turbo or something on here, so that is an option as well, but I'm not sure yet. I have a feeling, though, that this is probably going to be more or less the final version of the bike. It runs really well, lights work, the brakes work, it's got new tires. It's probably about as far as I am going to take it. I really enjoyed the opportunity, learning, and getting to work on this, but, at the end of the day, I just don't know if I have all that much use for it. Whoops, backed into something. I just don't know if I have all that much use for it. So this may or may not be the last time you see this bike. Hopefully you'll see it again. Well, tell you what, before we go, I'll take it for a little quick spin around the block here. Alright, YouTube, until next time.